Smart stop choices between Montreal and Toronto that saves money and skip crowds. It's the idea for a one-route, local-wish tourists need. First, our base is in Montreal in the south shore of Montreal instead of downtown because of easier parking, cheaper stays, and a faster exit towards Quebec City. Most visitors blast the 401 in just a few hours and miss all the good stuff. This 16-day plan uses hub bases outside pricey cores, so you pay less, park easier, and you're closer to the actual adventures. Chapters below steal the parts that fit your dates the best, and if you want, you can also grab my trip just down below, which is a great starting point to plan your trip with the building blocks you want.
Space is in Montreal, and we stay there for 3 days in the region of Brossard. Let's dial in. So here you can see the whole route and road trippers, but I'll switch you over to my trip to make it more visible. That's also the trip I will share in the description down below. You can get there, and if we zoom in, Brossard, we stay somewhere here. And why we stay here is pretty simple. We avoid high nightly rates, so you don't have any parking headaches. Then you're only one bridge away from the old town, and is perfectly placed to launch east if you plan, as we do, going east afterwards to Quebec. And it is the smart stay because of that, because we have low rates, better parking options, family friendly, and lower rates than staying downtown. So downtown is beautiful, but paying a premium rate to sit right in the middle with where it's loud, where there's traffic, that I would say the south side down here is the better option. And as you see, my trip in our case already created for me a potential activity list or itinerary for us, which I will check when we're there and when we're closer to our trip, and I'll let you know what we think to do. But anyway, you have a ton of options, and which is great. Next stop is Quebec, and let's zoom out all the way. And if we talk about Quebec, where we stay, it is, let's switch back. Here you can see better than here. So that's spot number 99, somewhere here. It isn't showing up, but the thing is, it's next to the water, so waterfront zone, so more beautiful than staying in the city, right? And why we won't stay in the old town of Quebec, inside the iconic walls, well, it's pretty simple. It's pricier, and you get better options outside of the city border. And another thing is, you have calmer streets compared to downtown, same thing as in Montreal, and you get a quick access to the promenade and waterfalls area, and it's easier also in regards to parking. And we use that as a base to get to Quebec. There's also a festival on the 24th that we plan to see. And what we could do is from there we can visit the Ile d'Orléans, sunset at the waterfront, or sunrise maybe. And then it's easier to pivot west as well, as you're not starting in the city center, so you mind getting away from all the traffic. And also here, Mindship also already created some great activities that we could do, that it has planned for us from morning, afternoon, where to eat, based on our instructions we gave. And That's perfect. And what locals would do in Quebec is to walk the river. Tourists crowd the walls, so the bays where mornings are quiet, and parking isn't a bus hustle. I guess it's much more not appreciated, but you know what you want. It's just relaxed, and that's what we want basically. And from there we plan to go to Ottawa, and where we stay is in Gatineau or Gatineau, I don't know. Anyway, when we scroll down all the way, as you're in road trippers, but also here mind trip, here it doesn't show the distance right you need to take, but here you see usually we plan to have 2 to 3 hours drives, and when we are from the city core, we come back to that later when we're in the Toronto area, we tend to stay within a 1 hour radius from activities and adventures, max 2, and we only plan usually 1 to 2, 4, 5 hours drives within the itinerary. But getting back to Ottawa, we stay also here outside of Ottawa in Gatineau, which is across where across the river would be the Parliament Hill. And why are we there? Same as before, same landmarks, lower rates compared to the city core, less stress, less bustle, a quick bridge crossing to get to the city. We just want to see it at least once, so it's also better and the easier exit when you need to go to the next destination we have on the plan here. And the anticipation here is we're gonna skip the 401 route now and go in order not to miss any adventure going ahead. And when I need to summarize that, it's just cross 1 bridge, 2, keep your budget and your sanity in the end, right? So your wall will be happy with you at the end. And from Ottawa, we only staying one day there. We're moving to Prince Edward County, and we have planned to use that as our second base. The first one was Montreal, where we say, okay, we have 3 days and do whatever we want, be a bit flexible. And Prince Edward County is the same thing. We decided to stay here, but we also want to see Thousand Island area, is somewhere up here, and Kingston, the first capital city of Canada. And we also decided to have another apartment here, and we mainly booked apartments because it's simple. We can then decide if we want to eat out or cook at home, and we have a laundry. If you're not traveling in an RV and live out of your luggage, then this is the best way to go. So, and that's also the reason why we are not staying in Kingston up here, and it is close to the wineries, farm to table options, sandbanks, dunes. You're gonna feel the off-highway soul of this corridor, and simply it's a great option to use as a base because you have so many possible things to do around here. It's better than using Kingston as a base. Here it's much more calmer, you have more options. You can also rent boats to explore the area and all the islands around. And it's also in regards to budget, as you will see on the whole trip. It saves a lot of money if you stay just outside the course and be a bit farther away, but you have your, what's it called, calmity? I'm not certain, but the baseline is, instead of a highway hotel, it gives you slow mornings in the county And again, when you're as long as on the road as we are on this 2 months trip, then your soul will be happy with you and thank you for it. And now we move on to stop 5. So these are was the 4th stop, and stop 5 is in the Toronto area. So we go away from the Prince Edward County and move up here. And here I think we have 4 or 5 days. And that's a crucial thing, what I generally try to do on this 2 months trip. And that's just the first leg. We wanted to use a base. So we don't want to move luggage and accommodations each single day. So that's horrible with kids, and this is also annoying. So we have in Innisfil Beach, have booked an apartment as well. It's outside of the main city cores again, and it's kind of in the middle. And with that I mean, you can go visit Toronto, you can go, or you can plan to go up to one of the lakes as well, either this side. Here it's better visible. Either you're gonna see Lake Huron or Lake Ontario. So totally free, up to you or ourselves. We haven't fixed that yet. And it's also great because it's in a beach in close to the beach. I think it's only 5 or 10 minutes by foot, if I saw it correctly, to Lake Simcoe Beach. And I think an hour's drive away from Toronto. And even if you think of visiting the Algonquin Provincial Park up here, it's still an option to do with just, I think, a 2 hours drive, something like that. But we can take it as we want to. So we are totally free. What we're gonna do there? We have enough days to be flexible, and that's the most important point. And gives us the option of inserting one lake day and watch to distress if needed, or just explore the area. And as it is close to a lake, there are a ton of rental options as well. You can spend the whole time in this area and you will be satisfied, I'm certain of it. And still we are close to Toronto, but again, not a downtown site we booked because it's cheaper, no parking stress, the rates are lower. You don't need to, I mean, to be honest, why would you stay in a hotel when most of the day are out? You can't probably won't use the spa. Usually when you're in a 4 or 5-star hotel, you have spa included, swimming pool, ton of other things. Breakfast isn't even included, and you pay 5 times the price you pay for an apartment. So is that really worth it? Or you just want to book an apartment that has its own garden, so you can make your own barbecue in the evening and just chill out? I mean, come on, pretty simple. So if you are like me. Anyway, got distracted, sorry for that. Stop 6 after this area, we also want to see the Niagara Falls. Of course, when you are in the area, bet you want to see them as well. But here, same principle. Where? We stay in Niagara-on-the-Lake. We have booked an apartment there. It is close to the falls, but not right at the falls, because also here the pricing would be much higher. When I checked, I thought the price is like double the pricing, or what was around wasn't a great option. Maybe I was a bit late, but nonetheless, somewhere right here, and you also see that around here. So we're gonna stay in this area, and there are a ton of activities you can do there. There's a mini golf area, indoor adventure things, Niagara Falls, then you're right to Lake Ontario, so you have this waterfront closeness again, and you have again these better parking options. It's less crowded. You have something for yourself, which is nice as well. and kids can still go out, which is also important on a trip like this. If you just want to stay and chill at home, you can do that. In a hotel, it's kind of a bit difficult. You are more onto each other, which leads to more discussions maybe, right? And after all that fun, we decided we book before you fly to Calgary. The next day we book a hotel right at the airport, right at the terminal. So we give the car back on that day, and that means we stay at the Sheraton Toronto Airport Hotel. And it's a great base because you're already out of downtown. You can really wind down before the trip starts on the next day with the next part of the trip. And I've saw from other people doing the same thing, and they were so much more relaxed, especially as a family, when you can just wake up in the morning, you have breakfast already prepared, you just need to take your suitcases and walk over to your boarding and check-in area, and it's so much calmer. You will be so much less stressed, and that's the important thing. So no traffic anymore, and again, something where your soul and your mind will be thankful for less stress. A few things, a few principles that I want to give you on the way that I think made a lot of difference in our case is if you plan smart in a way that you don't book in the city course. Use bases as a start like we did. So rather book less stays or accommodations, but make sure that they are kind of in the middle somewhere if possible. And then also plan in some travel off days, like we have in the Toronto area or Montreal area, where we just can do whatever we want. We don't need to do anything at all. We have the option to stay and just relax and chill with a nice garden, nice barbecue, whatever you want. And that also gives you the option, if you have this model, that you have some buffer nights, just to, if you need to recharge, you can do that. And that's totally fine. That's what we want to achieve. In addition, with this structure, you save a lot of money as you don't book in the city course. You don't need to look for parking fees that you pay for staying at a certain spot. No, it's already included in the accommodations. You don't need to look for a laundry. It's already included in most rentals as well. Rentals. I think that's what we learned from our last day in Vancouver. That's also an important thing. And one thing that helped us a lot. I was a bit late, but if you start booking for summer next year in October this year, you will save a lot of money because you have early bird discounts, and around Black Friday, you even get more discounts. So that's where I walked into a little trap a bit with the last part of our travel. I was a bit late booking, so I lost some of the potential savings. So that's one thing I want to highlight for you, which I think is important. And if this has helped you saving time planning, then drop your travel dates. I'll reply with 2 base options like we had, and maybe also some information or insights where you can keep or shorten your trip a bit, and also the exact stays. And for that, you can also look in the description if you need some insights, some ideas in the Mind Trip itinerary. Yeah, and if you want the full packing and budget sheet for this route, check the Mind Trip link below. If you're crossing the Rockies, maybe or plan to, then check the upcoming videos in the series where I introduce you to our trip to Saskatchewan and also the trip over the Rockies to the Sunshine Coast in BC. And if you need more booking advices or want more of these authentic Canada experiences and not tourist traps or crowded places, then hit subscribe not to miss anything anymore in the future. With that, cheers and goodbye.